dude sitting there.
Is it recording?
It's recording.
Want to do something else? Are you feeling down?
This is good. This is great.
Fucking do it. Go. They gotta get you going.
Sit there and shut
Did you
the
get
fuck
slapped
up.
or something? Like,
Oh, I gotta get fired up by the king. What's up, fish tank people? FishTankTV.com, Dustin's Fish Tanks. We're getting to you and Rachel O'Leary behind me on a Tuesday, not really at the Aquatic Experience, but it's a top 5 Tuesday. I got my man Joey, the king idea. Why I actually had to stop holding his hand for a second. We were cuddling the whole time today, like everybody wants us to do. But I got the man pinned down here. I'm excited to have him out of Canada into Chicago, and I want to ask him the simple. It's top 5 Tuesday, bro. Man, let's make it easy on you, bro. Top 5 fish. Number 5 fish. What's your number 5 fish?
okay, so there was a point in time where I got my first monster fish was Oscars, and there was a point in time in my hobby when I actually kept them exclusively. I had no other fish but one Oscar. It was my pet Oscar, and that's kind of how I got into big fish and viewing them as pets as opposed to just a hobby. I started viewing it like as a pet, like you would a dog. So Oscars are in my top 5, yeah, for sure.
What was the name of the Oscar?
I didn't have a name for it. I don't name the fish.
No, I'm surprised you had such a thing with the one fish. All right, and then your number 4 fish.
Number 4 fish. Okay, so we're going backwards in time here.
Yeah, I gotta go. I know what your number 1 is.
Okay.
That's easy. Everybody knows that.
Uaru amphicanthoids, specifically, if that's how you pronounce their scientific name, or their Latin name. I typically don't do it very well because I largely
point, dude? Go
largely
for
don't care.
names.
If you guys don't know what Uaru is, then you've never heard of my channel. Uaru Joey was my original channel name, spelled uaru Joey, and they're a South American fish, a cichlid, and they don't get very colorful, typically being brown, grays, blacks, but one of their unique characteristics about them, I'll just give you one little cool thing about them.
It's your name, dude.
Yeah. Well, at one point in time, I was only keeping them as well. Well, Uaru and some Severums, things like that. But when I was creating my YouTube channel, I couldn't figure out a name for it. And I looked over at my tank and I seen my Uaru there. I thought Uaru Joey, and it was available, so I took it. And it was the only login that I could remember the password to. So I kept going with it. But the thing about Uaru, and this is really interesting for you guys to know, you definitely got to try this fish out. It's more of a herbivore and a plant eater, but that's not the interesting thing. Is there's only 3 fish in the world that feed their fish off of their skin, their mucus.
Right.
And like for example, Discus. You've seen Discus
We all know
fry.
Discus.
Yeah. Uaru do it too, and they're actually called. I'm not sure if they're called this anymore, but at one point they used to be called the poor man's discus because they have so much in common with discus, yet they cost a lot less.
I thought that was Severums.
Well, I think Severums probably bit it from Uaru.
I got you.
Severums look nothing like discus. They don't share any traits. They don't have the same diet requirements. They're from the same areas, but in the wild, you're gonna find you'll find some in the wild too. But you'll find Uaru and discus together all the time.
And I just want to make a note. Back in the day, before you and I knew each other, I saw this channel with this god awful logo of a Uaru.
Oh yeah.
And there's like, this cat's got a ton of subscribers. Like, what's he doing? So I just remember that I got.
I was never good at logo design, and I'm still not. But what I'm good at is pouring my passion into the videos.
I just thought it was funny because I remember his old school logo. Not that I was like, that dude's got a shit ton of subscribers, so whatever. So all right, so that's your number 4. What's your number 3 fish? That's getting easy. You guys should know all these.
Number 3. Number 3 is Discus. Discus have. I didn't realize discus were one of my favorite fish until one day I realized that I've kept discus longer than I've kept any other fish.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. For the longest, for a continuous period. Like some people keep a fish for a couple of years and then stop keeping them for 7 years, then keep them for a year and say, I've been keeping discus for 10 years or something like that. But it was the longest continuous time. I think it was like 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I never really counted, but I did realize at one point discus were like my go-to fish that I've always kept for a very long time, in my opinion, a long time. And they're definitely in my top 3. If they should probably be a little bit higher, but my top 2 are even better than discus in my opinion. Oh, and by the way, the discus is not the king of the aquarium. I'm sorry for all you discus lovers out there, but something so dainty and pretty cannot be a king. Otherwise, I'm changing my name.
Dude, and for the record, I've never kept discus because I think they're dainty and like I like them. I think they're hot. I think they're hot looking fish.
Yeah.
Like I love the bright orange discus. Dude. Some of the discus I saw in your videos are fat, but like they're so sensitive and skittish and my style. Like I'm not like it's like I want to fish it like out and like.
I think discus are largely overrated in terms of their difficulty. Nowadays, discus have been domesticated and tank raised for so long that they're no more difficult than any other cichlid for the most part, as long as you had the basics down pat, which is understanding the nitrogen cycle, having a properly filtered tank, and doing those water changes. That's it. That's all they want. And a good diet, of course, but they're not as difficult as people think.
They're not the king.
They're not the king of the aquarium. And I know I'm friends with so many Discus people. I'm not going to say names, but I'm sorry, but I do not believe they're the king of the aquarium, only because I'm the king of DIY, and if they're comparison in name, then that means I'm dainty and pretty.
And he's losing sleep over it as we speak. Yeah. And then, all right, so everybody, I mean, come on, you guys have seen Joey's video. Joey, what is your number 2 favorite fish?
You know, I look at number 1 only because if I were to say my number 1 favorite fish, it means I can only keep 1. So these fish would be my number 1 if I could keep 2. And those are, my second favorite fish are freshwater stingrays. They're like the puppy dogs of water. Little water dogs, if you will. Absolutely intriguing. They'll always get a wow. You always constantly learn, and they expose you to a different aspect of the hobby. I feel like ray keeping is on a whole other level than your typical hobby fish.
Thank you. I'm trying to knock into my camera. All right, ray. And what's your favorite type of species of ray, dude?
Definitely gonna have to be black rays with white dots, and there's a few different species of rays that look like that. I would say that I have a favorite preference of their look. I like the look of a Henley, which is, they can typically be more of a gray base with white dots, but I like that they have big white dots and not a bunch of tiny ones and white ones, although those are really nice. But in order to get the black, you have to go to Leopoldi, but you don't get the same spotting and coverage. So then after you get the Leopoldi, you have to go to Black Diamond, and when you go to Black Diamond, you jump up in price, like doubling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I mean, a good pair of Black Diamond Stingrays, at least $2,500.
Oh, wow. And again, back to the logo, black and white, second favorite fish.
Yeah.
And as if you all don't know, Joey, what is your number 1? You had to pick just one.
I just pick one.
Just pick one. Dude.
I like to say this is my favorite type of, my favorite species of fish, largely because most of my audience is from the United States, as would yours be, and you guys can't have this fish, but I can because I'm from Canada, which is the Asian Arowana. My absolute favorite freshwater fish for a number of reasons. Some of the top reasons is based on their looks. They're very majestic fish, very relaxing to watch. But I also enjoy the Asian culture surrounding them and the beliefs surrounding them. They bring wealth, good luck, good fortune, and prosperity, that sort of thing. And an interesting fact is my channel got really big when I started keeping Asian Arowana, and that could be just a coincidence, but you know, it's a pretty good coincidence.
That is quite funny, actually. And they have now, this is one of the things, that you tell me on this, dude, because they're your fish. Is it true? I read that they bring wealth and prosperity or whatever, but it's also in their culture, part of the problem is that it's not bad luck to kill them. Is that, have you heard that about the culture? I'm curious your thoughts on that, because I thought it was really cool to have them, but if they died, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, it wasn't like the downside wasn't the same as the upside.
I mean, I think that it would based on the locale and what their individual beliefs are, but there are core beliefs. They believe that it's the reincarnation of the actual dragon, just based on its scales and its barbells and a lot of its physical characteristics. But
number of subscribers and views per month as well.
Yes, that's exactly it. But whether they die or not, I never actually heard of that. I do know. I just, for the most part, it's basically due to their good luck.
Their good luck.
Feng shui. Feng shui. You can look it up, guys. You definitely, after you're done watching this video, check out the feng shui of the Asian Arowana. It's really interesting to read about their beliefs and that sort of thing. You'd be definitely tempted to keep one. And an alternative, a good alternative, would be something like a Giardini. They do look similar. They cost a lot less. You can get a silver Arowana, but they get a lot bigger. But there are alternatives out there. Unfortunately, you guys can't keep the Asian Arowana, but if you ever do get the opportunity and can provide for them properly, definitely keep them. They're one of the most rewarding fish you can have.
Yeah, and that intro, by the way, is sick as hell. So,
sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So, all right, everybody, top 5 fish with Joey Mullins here. Tank on. See you. Let's see you next week. What's the?
Well, you want me to close
I
the
want you to
video?
close
Oh,
it,
where's the
close
mode?
it.
All right. Well, how do I do that? I gotta get in my mode. I'm just in his mode. All right. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I also wanted to thank you for watching. If you join me next week, I'll have another top 5 video with Dustin's fish tanks.